Another day, another player linked to the Pies. Let's talk about it. Now, in a bit of a bombshell exclusive from Mark McGowan from The Age, he said that Collingwood are looking into Jy Simpkin. So, Kangaroos' captain on big contract, big money, who has been shopped around a little bit by his management. So apparently, he doesn't like playing on the wing. He's an inside midfielder, which, ding, that's exactly what we're sort of looking for at the moment. So he's an inside mid, was playing on the wing, only played in 34% of the centre bounces at the Roos this year. And the Roos, it's their midfield is probably the only area where they're absolutely stacked with really, really good talent. And Simkin was a surplus to their needs, and he actually did not too bad on the wing. But again, that's not his position. So he wasn't enjoying it. They probably told him, for the next 5 years or however long you got left on your contract, you'll probably be playing on the wing because we have, Wardlaw and Sheasel going through there and LDU going through there. So we're gonna have all of these players going through there. McKercher, we're gonna have all these players going through there. You're probably gonna have to play on the wing and get used to it and learn that role. And he did it well. But he's like, nah, I need to be as an inside mid.
Has there been any interest elsewhere? I believe Collingwood have shown some interest.
Yeah, there's been some interest shown. He's obviously a very good player, so that's no surprise when he's, been open to wanting to go and have a bit of a look and see if there is anything out there. So there has been some interest, but there's been no trade request. There's been no formal offer or anything like that in terms of the trade. So the way we see it, while it's still in that position, he's a North Melbourne player and will continue to be.
So let's talk about his contract for a second. In 2023, he signed a big year, big money contract, taking him till 2029. So he skipped out on free agency, which was going to be his free agency year was 2024. Reportedly on $1 million or just over $1 million. His previous contract to the one that he signed in 2023 was a 2-year contract worth about $700,000. So it's looking like it'd be on about $1 million. So the official terms and money, they weren't disclosed. So we're kind of assuming that it's about $1 million, but by industry sources, it looks like about $1 million. Now, that is a big contract, and that is big money. Would be, at least if he came to Collingwood on that money, he'd be easily top 4, top 5 highest paid players at the club. And we know that getting these sort of players in, you do have to pay a little bit more, but it's not like Dan Houston and it's not like Harry Perryman where you're sort of having to pay a little bit more because they're uncontracted. Sorry, not Dan Houston. Harry Perryman was uncontracted free agent. So you have to pay a little bit more. This is Simpkin's contract. It's not like the Kangaroos are getting rid of him. Look at the Oliver deal, right? Melbourne said, we'll pay $700,000 off him of his contract. Just take him away. North don't want to lose him. So North aren't going to be like, yeah, we'll pay half of his contract. That's not going to happen, right? Because North don't want to lose him. So you're probably going to have to pay his whole contract. And is he really worth $1 million? I think that North new teams were going to come for him in 2024 in free agency and sort of turn his head. They didn't have a lot of superstars. They had a lot of money in their salary cap, so they offered him a lot of money to stay, like they did LDU, like they did their 2 forwards, Larky and I forgot the other guy's name, right? But they had a lot of money to offer, so that's why he's on $1 million or just over $1 million. He's probably, to me personally, a $750,000, $800,000 player thereabouts. But again, the Kangaroos tax, and they're paying him $1 million a season until 2029.
Yes, Collingwood has some interest. Jy Simpkin's overseas. I can't see a world where Collingwood pay Jy Simpkin's full salary. I also can't see a world where Collingwood give up a first rounder for Jy Simpkin. Now, Jy Simpkin as a player might not be worth a first rounder, but his status at North Melbourne, a 2-time best and fairest, a contracted captain, probably means that North would ask for a first rounder. And the other element here is North don't need the money off the books. They don't need a salary cap dump.
So Simkin is known as an inside midfielder in that 2021-2022 period where he was looking at that contract extension is when he had incredible incredible couple of seasons, averaging nearly close to 30 disposals, 5 clearances a game. But then his form sort of dipped in 2024-2025. 18 games in 2024, he averaged 21 disposals, 4 clearances, and a tackle. And then in 2021, like I just said previously, he was moved to a wing position, only was in centre bounces about 34% of the time. So that was 21 games, 22 disposals, 4 clearances, and 1.5 tackles per game. So not huge numbers. He averaged about a goal a game, or point eight to a goal sort of a game. So it has trended lower since that 2021-2022 season, but that's again, how much can you put into this? Looking at the stats like this when it is such a I don't want to say crap side, such a rebuilding side like North Melbourne are. Like, they're not winning heaps of games, and they're not doing fancy things and stuff like that. So of course his numbers are going to be down. He was pushed onto a wing as well, so he's not doing what he wants to do. But I think his numbers are a little bit less. If you put him into a good midfield, he's probably getting more numbers, right? So you got to do like you got to do with the contract and the Kangaroos tax. You've got to do it with the Kangaroos tax on his just numbers in general.
Going down to get changed at the 32nd mark of the first quarter.
Give him a pep talk at all, did you, Derm?
A good luck or two.
You would have done some hip and shoulders.
That's why the non-give on that occasion. Always looks a little concerned and nervous, Chris Fagan, but...
Ball might make it work. He'll get a free kick, will he? No, it doesn't matter now. Davies Uniac linked up, and they are out here in North Melbourne. Stevenson assessing the options. Can go to Simkin with run. He's got Larky inboard. He's really tired. Here's Simpkin, but you wouldn't know it. What a goal for North Melbourne.
Now, Collingwood need an inside midfield. That's why we were looking at Clayton Oliver. Tom Mitchell isn't going to be there. Jordan De Goey isn't getting any younger. Pendles, Sidebottom. These guys aren't getting any younger. Now, I know we have Ned Long in the side, but again, Ned Long's 22. Jy Simpkin is around 27 years old. So he fits in a really good age bracket. And if you can just chuck him in the middle, he'd be, a walk-up best 23 starter, right? I think there's a lot of bad raps on this guy. If you look at the comment section on Instagram, on Twitter, on Reddit, on Big Footy, and all these, even from Kangaroo supporters, they're saying, yes, he's a good player. He's not a star, and I understand that. He's not a star, right? He's got the Kangaroos tax on him. He's not a star, but he's not terrible either. His disposal efficiency, which is one of his biggest sort of concerns, is he averaged around 71% this season. Nick went at 70% this season, and Ned Long went at about 62% this season. So he's not super hacking it, and all you really need from him is inside mid, get the ball, get in, get out, feed it to Nick accumulates it, and we go from there. We really need to start building this sort of younger core around Nick and around Ned, and just to because Pendles and Sidebottom and Howe and all these guys aren't going to be playing every single game next season. Even Jordan De Goey, who knows if St Kilda want him, if his body's going to hold up. So we really have to be wary of that.
But Jy's not. What was it, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that Jy Simpkin wasn't happy with the position he was playing.
No, he's not.
One or more midfield time. So he's agitated for some sort of discussion to get out of there.
Yes.
And when a player's agitated, it's interesting what clubs do.
Now, adding Jy Simpkin to the team is going to be challenging. He's contracted. He's got big money. The Roos won't pay any of his money. We can trade future first. So in 2026, in 2027, we can trade our future first from there. Is he worth a future first rounder? Only if the Kangaroos are going to pay some of his salary. Even if it's $300,000 of his salary, $200,000 of his salary, and we give him 2026's future first or something like that, I would say yes. I think that's the only sticking point, that contract, $1 million to bring in someone who's not an out A grader. He's not like Zach Butters or King that we're looking at in free agency. Yes, he's a good player, but $1 million, especially with what the Kangaroos are going to be asking for their captain, it might just be a little bit too hard. I feel like Collingwood at the moment, they've got a bit of FOMO. Like, they don't want to miss out on any of these big name midfielders to improve their side, especially because Butters is going to be next year. Simpkin, they missed out on Oliver already. They're getting a little bit of FOMO, I feel.
All the way back. Greenwood. Little chip.
Delightful ball use. Well, there were high hopes pre-season for a rise up the ladder for North. It hasn't gone to plan so far this season, but this quarter has gone to plan. It's a 4-goal term.
Now, we know our midfield lacks a little bit of depth. I think Simkin would be a really good acquisition into the side. I think he brings a lot to us. But again, does this stunt the growth of Dimatia as an inside mid, Ned Long as that sort of midfielder as well? And, you know, whoever else was sort of putting through Ed Allen, I'm not going to worry about Ed Allen because he's more of a wingman, right? That's Steele Sidebottom's natural successor, and Roan Steele's got the other wing as well. So I'm not talking about Ed Allen, but Dimatia still hasn't got a game. Ned Long, I think Ned Long and Simkin can still work together in the same side, but, you know, we'll have to see that. Now, McRae saying he wants players and picks. I think if you can get Simkin at the right price, has to be the right price. I really don't want to give away a future first rounder for Simkin. I'd rather give away 2026 and 2027's future first for Zach Butters if Port Adelaide think that we're going to start falling off a cliff, which I'd love to push that narrative that we're falling off a cliff. So, like, yeah, there'll be top 4 picks and then we'll win a flag in 27. You know what I mean? So I'll give away those first for Zach Butters. I wouldn't give them away for Simkin, and I would really want the Kangaroos to pay a little bit of his wage, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Again, I just think Collingwood have FOMO at the moment. I would like Simkin in the side. I just don't think, if we have to bend over backwards to get him, I just don't think it's really worth it. But let me know your thoughts down below. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double checkers, I'll swoop you later.